Welcome to Section 2 of the OHV Preservation Ambassador training, and this is how to adopt a site. We're going to go over why you want to adopt a site, what makes a good site for adoption, some good site examples, and the adoption form. So the main reason to adopt a site is really to solidify your stewardship. You're going to go out for annual site checks and report on whether or not the site looks good or bad. And this helps show a commitment from the OHV community that you are taking care of certain resources, and it shortens the window of when damage occurred by having those regular reports. Now, what makes a good site to adopt is really up to you for a large portion of that, and that is something you want to volunteer for. And I broke that down into the 3 I's: something that you're interested in, that you want to learn more about, something that you're invested in because you have to care about it to go back to it every year, and something that's kind of already on your itinerary. That means you enjoy the ride to get out there, it's something you like to return to, and you'll visit once a year. The second thing that makes a site good to adopt is that you're accessing it legally by your chosen mode of transportation, and that it's on public lands in Nevada. And a good site is something that's recognizable from the trail and contains at least one feature. That means you want to be able to drive up to it, hop out, walk around it, and then get back into your vehicle. And it's because these resources are along the trails, they're most likely to get impacted. Okay, a good site example is a ranch building. So this is easily recognizable from the trail. It's interesting. You can hop out, walk around, take a look, and it is something that may get vandalized. Charcoal kilns are another identifiable feature on the landscape. This one, you can drive right up to it. Mining sites, any kind of equipment or head frames and that kind of thing that you can see from the trail. This one has the road right beside it. This is a good example of a site to adopt. Another mining site with a chimney and some foundation. Stagecoach stops. Cemeteries, and this one is unmarked, so again a good place to keep an eye out because people may be accidentally driving over things or they may be digging like we had in the previous video. Petroglyphs are also another site where people like to stop and check them out, and they're at risk for people damaging them, vandalizing them, or even trying to remove them. Another example of petroglyphs. Rock shelters, these are harder to identify, but if you're aware of a rock shelter and along a trail that you visit and people like to go up there and mess around, people like to add their names and put charcoal and other types of graffiti up on those surfaces. Agave roasting pits, these are a feature that's mostly found or identified in southern Nevada, and that's kind of like if you know how to do a pit roast. They dug a hole in the ground, had a fire, heated up stones, put the material in there, covered it up and baked it. Then when they went to get the material out, they shoveled it out and it ends up making a donut shape on the landscape. So these are features that you can see from the road and are at risk of people not exactly knowing what they are, and sometimes they'll drive over them. So to go over selecting your site again, the checklist is the 3 I's, which is, are you interested, invested, and is it on your itinerary? Number 2, is it on legally accessible public lands in Nevada? And number 3, it contains at least one recognizable feature from the trail. The adoption form can be found online or it can be emailed to you after this training. And the goal of you completing the cultural site adoption form, even though it's optional, is because it's going to ask the same questions as the online report. But once you fill it out, then in the future when you report, you can just put the site name. You don't have to fill out things like what county is it located in or any of that. So really what you're doing is you're clearing your site through Nevadans for Cultural Preservation so that every time you go from that point forward, it's super simple to fill out your monitoring report. Okay, that covers adopting a site, so go ahead and complete questions 9 through 13.